in conversation with Kofi Douhadji. Kofi Douhadji is an American entrepreneur, writer, and publishing consultant. Author of Unbroken Optimist, Kofi was born in Afagnan, a remote village in Togo, West Africa. His early life was defined by the struggle for survival in challenging circumstances. However, books became a sanctuary, offering solace and opening doors to new words and ideas, igniting a lifelong passion for learning and storytelling. In pursuit of his dream to contribute to the world's wisdom, Kofi faced numerous rejection. Undeterred, he persisted, leading to the creation of his debut book, Unbroken Optimist. This book has now touched the life of over 6,000 readers worldwide and counting, inspiring them with tales of resilience and hope. Kofi's journey doesn't end with its own sources. He founded Flying Wings, a haven for first-time authors to share his knowledge and experiences. Through his writing and his mission, Kofi invites readers to discover the transformative power of storytelling, optimism, grit, and the limitless potential within each of us. Much like Kofi's journey, Unbroken Optimist is a testament to the human spirit, resilient, and the belief that dreams can be achieved even in the face of seemingly insurmountable odds. It is an inspiring narrative that offers readers the chance to embark on their own journey of self-discovery and transformation. And on today's episode of Auto Interview, it's my utmost pleasure and joy to have on the show today, Kofi. Welcome on the show, Kofi.
Thank you so much, Peter. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to have you on the show today. I'm excited.
Likewise.
Yeah. So, Kofi, I'd first love to say that you have such an interesting title that I'm very much looking forward to uncover in this conversation. So for the sake of those who are just hearing about your memoir, Unbroken Optimist, could you tell us briefly about it and how you came about writing it?
Thank you for the opportunity, Peter. Unbroken Optimist is a project that started years ago where I wanted to document my journey and the things that I believe in growing up, things that I've found through other than my journey and experiences. And
Yeah,
I got to a point where I wanted to share the things that worked for me to get
yeah,
where I'm at today. I wanted to share with everyone who would find value in that to be able to form their own lives. So I
mm,
wrote an optimist from the perspective that my biggest mission in life is to contribute to a society that empowers each and every one of its members to
mm,
strive for a purpose-driven life and an extraordinary life. So
wow,
that's where the desire to write Unbroken Eyes came true. And I also wanted to that younger me who was 16, 15 years old, who had dreams. And I know back in village in Africa, in my home country,
mm,
there are young people today who are where I used to be a few
mm,
years ago.
yeah.
I wanted to share my journey and my insight with people to be able to help them.
Wow, that's quite amazing to know, really. I love your motivation to this and the mission associated with it. So thank you so much for sharing. Now, Kofi, judging from the carefully made cover illustration of Unbroken Optimist, I would like to know how your foundation or background of being born in Togo, West Africa, influenced who you are today. Would you love to talk about that?
Absolutely. I'm from the Inuit culture, and my culture is heavily community oriented. We don't
Mm,
believe in self made. We think deeply that it takes a village to achieve anything meaningful. You
Mm,
just go by yourself and do whatever. A lot of people claim to be self-made, but from my perspective, I believe is when we think people who really should support us didn't support us.
yeah.
Somewhere, even if it's a stranger, someone is always giving a hand uh, in certain way, shape, or form. So my background heavily rooted community and the belief that whatever situation is, one can always influence that to get a
Mm,
positive out. All that supported my beliefs and the philosophy I'm sharing in this book.
wow. Wow, that's quite awesome to know. Having seen the cover inspired me to want to ask that question, and I love your answer to it. Now I know that writing memoir can be challenging sometimes, and I'm curious to know if you experience any challenges while writing the book. If there is any, could you share with us what challenge it is and how you ultimately overcame it?
I have. A few of them would be, um, I think, let me backtrack. Some challenges when you're writing a memoir because it's heavily emotional. There are
Yeah.
things you've lived through, the challenges have been pivotal moments in your life. When you're
Yeah.
writing about them, it's like living those experiences one more time.
Mm,
So, a few examples throughout the book that I talk about, whether are challenging on the positive side or exciting, you're relieving again something that
yeah.
is very exciting, something that is super heavy. I've experienced all of those two emotions and everything in between. One of the examples is when I had this very difficult stomach ache, and I had to go from Anejo to my village, Afagnan, to attend hospital. But the state of the roads, the
Mm,
taxi which was so beat up that you could see the moving beneath the car.
mm,
There were some missing panels. The
mm.
dust, I can still see that as I'm talking about it right now.
Wow.
And then
Wow.
for me to go from Anejo to Afanya took about 2.5 hours, and by the time I got to the hospital, I was so much in pain that I passed out.
Wow.
To only to wake up a few days later and notice that I've had a surgery done on me. So those are
Wow.
some of the experiences, and also the fact that I dealt with hunger and not having anything to eat. So when I was writing this book, going back to those days were very difficult to deal with emotionally.
Mm. Wow. Wow, this is quite emotional, really. And thank you so much for talking about it and even sharing it here today. Yeah, it sounds
Absolutely.
very amazing to me. This is quite pulling, really. Yeah. Yeah, thank you for sharing. Kofi, as authors, we all have different ways of reacting to feedbacks and criticism of our works. I'm curious to know your opinion about criticism. How do you react to negative criticism of your books if you've ever had one in time past?
That's a really good question, Peter. I personally don't take it. None of them is good or bad. I think feedback criticism is a gift.
Yeah,
Not all gifts are useful. If you
absolutely.
give me a gift, it's my place to decide if I'm going to use it or not.
Yeah.
You know, if I'm going to the North Pole and you give me ice, I probably not gonna load myself with ice. I
Mm,
know where I'm going to. There's ice there
yeah.
already in quantity. So I think criticism ultimately helps us grow. Feedback
Mm.
help us improve. So as
Interesting.
an author and a writer, I know I'm not perfect. I'm learning, I'm growing, and I'll still be doing so until the day I leave this planet.
Mm.
So to me, I have a few steps to take criticism. If it's not founded, I just disregard it. If the
Mm.
criticism is qualified to help me, I will learn from it. If it's mean just to be uh, critical of me, I will
Mm.
just smile, because at the end of the day, it's a gift. The person who is giving it to me
Yeah.
give it to me. It's my place to take it and do whatever I need to do with it. But I deeply
Yeah.
believe that um, criticism is data, and how you process that data, and having the knowledge or wisdom to cut through the noise and get to
Mm.
what is important,
Mm.
have helped me to learn from criticism and also disregard and discard what is
Wow.
not serving me.
Wow, that's quite amazing to know, really. I particularly love your opinion on criticism, your take on it, and how you react to it. Sounds very educative and quite informative to me. So thank you for sharing.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Now, Kofi, apart from Unbroken Optimist, do you have any other works you've authored or maybe currently working on?
Yes, my next book is coming in a few weeks. It's called
Oh,
Tiny Sparks. It is currently available for pre-order through my website and will be through Amazon in 2 weeks.
oh, wow.
And beside Tiny Sparks, I am working on a few other books. One of them is focusing on understanding how some people are able to deal with pain and still perform with
Mm,
excellence,
mm,
while a simple headache will stop some of us to be able to perform with excellence. So those
yeah.
are some work I'm doing currently and researching to complete.
Wow, wow, that's amazing. And I hope that goes on successfully. Hopefully, when that is up, we would love to have you back on the show to talk about it. That will be fun.
That would be wonderful, Peter.
Yeah. Now, Kofi, could you tell us what publishing is like for a published author like yourself? Are there any challenges you've encountered ever since you got published?
Yeah, a few challenges that I have experienced ever since I was published is we talked about. One is the criticism that comes, and as
Mm,
human beings, it sometimes takes a toll on you when you're getting them all over the place. And when a book as Unbroken Optimist is getting around the world and more people are reading it,
yeah,
that puts you on the spotlight, in the spotlight, and can get very overwhelming at
yeah,
times.
yeah,
In addition to that, the pressure to perform and to meet expectations. uh,
absolutely.
you have written a book that is been successful, then you may feel the pressure to be able to write a next book that is at least as much as
As a
successful
first
as the
one.
first one, if
Yeah.
not more. So
Yeah, I understand that.
all that can add to the stress and the way to manage, navigate uh, when you're having success as an author,
Mm,
and be able to keep your heads on your shoulder and keep working, because while this book is taking you to the podiums, to the
mm,
stages, so you can talk and do all that, as an author you still need to make time for yourself to work and
absolutely.
keep growing writing.
Yeah.
Some other challenges I would say is um, the ability to keep up with your readers. I love relationships. I love
Mm,
interacting with my readers. And the
Amazing.
more of them there are, currently we've sold over 6,000
Wow.
copies. So a lot of people are on social media and they will reach out to ask a question, to have a relationship,
Mm.
and being someone who try to feed those relationships, it can be
Wow.
very difficult to give proper attention and acknowledgement to anyone who reached out to you. So that has
Absolutely.
been a very challenging situation of mine.
Wow. Well, I love your take on this, really. It's quite amazing to know. Yeah, I love your take on the challenges and how you ultimately overcame it. Sounds quite amazing to me. It really made for an interesting discussion. And now, is there anything that you would love to share with the viewers about your memoir that we did not mention in this interview and you'd love the viewers to know?
If you're watching this, whether you've read or you're planning to read or you haven't read Unbroken Optimist,
Mm,
no matter where you are, no matter where you are planning to go, I just want you to know that you got this. You have all it takes to get where you want to go to.
yeah,
And one question I want to leave uh, our listener and your audience with, Peter,
yeah,
is that I love asking myself when I have a plan and then all of a sudden doubt and fear starts creeping in. I ask myself, what if it works? And by asking myself, what if it works, it gets me excited.
yeah,
It leads me to answers
yeah,
and turns questions into answers. And before you know it, you'll come up with creative solutions to problems that once looked impossible to solve. And
amazing.
you keep moving forward. So I
Yeah,
just want to share that question with everyone. Ask yourself, what if it works?
what if it works? Wow. I love that. That's even an amazing, statement to keep in one's head whenever you want to make a plan or a decision, because fear is a terrible thing that restricts many people from taking decision that would even, make their life much better. I want to do something, you're afraid. What if I fail? But, I love the question coming in. What if it works? Imagine where you would be
Yeah.
if it works, what would gain or
And get
come out of
excited
it if it
about
works.
that possibility. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's an amazing question you are leaving us with. I love the sound of it. It's quite, inspirational and quite motivating, even to me as a host. So yeah, thank you so much for mentioning what if it works. Yeah, I'll keep that in the back of our mind too. Yeah. So thank you for
Love it.
sharing.
Love it.
Yeah. So Kofi, as a published author, what sort of advice do you have for other writers who are still struggling with publishing a book? What would you advise people in this category?
While preparation is a thing, a lot of aspiring authors with doubt, and the thing I hear a lot
Yeah.
is when they say, I'm not ready to start writing, or them feel like they're not qualified to write.
Mm,
And uh, action is a better provider of clarity than preparation is. If you start writing to in 10 days, you would have 10 days of experience. Someone
mm,
who's getting waiting to get ready will have 0 days of experience. So start writing today. The words, if even if they're words, they're not going to jump off the paper or the screen and bite you in the face.
yeah.
They're not.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
try to start now. It's the best time to start. The Chinese
Absolutely.
proverb that says
Mm,
the best time to plant a tree was 10 years ago. The second best time is now.
mm,
Start writing now, and as you go and discover and learn, will improve and uh, fine tune what you're working on, and also
mm,
learn from the people you admire, people
Mm,
who are along ahead of you along the journey.
yeah,
Approach them, ask questions, and if you
absolutely.
can afford it, take some beginners course to help you understand some of the basics that it takes to be a good
Mm,
writer. But
yeah.
ultimately, start writing, keep learning, you will grow.
That's amazing. Thank you so much for your advice. And I'm hopeful that viewers, including myself, will love to utilize it. I particularly love the fact that you mentioned now is the best time to start. Now is the best time to do something. Now is the best time to sow for the future that lies ahead. So thank you so much for adding that too. And Kofi, I'm curious, would you like to read a section of your book? It could be your favorite, line, your favorite paragraph or page, depending on what side
I'm
or
just gonna,
section you would love to particularly recite. Yeah, just so the audience can have a snippet.
yeah. Um, I think I might know where I can take something real quick. This section on 172,
Yeah.
the section Embrace Change, Failure. 130 years ago, in days of the Neanderthals, change meant life or situations. The world had evolved since, but our instincts remained the same. We strong negative reaction to
Mm,
change, but it's part of life, so we need to become familiar with it.
mm,
This also means getting comfortable with failure. Obviously, failure has always had bad connotations, but
mm,
actually, failure is not bad in itself. It means that you
absolutely.
tried something and are still learning.
Mm,
It is okay to fail sometimes, as long as you get back up and learn from it. Change is okay too. Once you accept these things, you are well on your way to living the mentality of an unbroken optimist.
wow. Wow, that's quite amazing. I love your recitation. Sounds very amazing. I love your take on change. It sounds a bit philosophical to me with your exploration. And it's an amazing thing, really. It's quite motivating as well, quite inspiring. So, yeah, thank you so much for reading. I love the sound of it.
Appreciate the opportunity, Peter.
Yeah, yeah. And now, in case we have some viewers who are currently watching this interview, I would love to get a copy of your book. On what platform is it available on for purchase?
My book is available on Amazon globally,
Mm,
Amazon.com, Amazon Europe, and all that, Australia. It's also available through my website, Kofi.com. And if you live in the United States, you can find it in physical libraries around
beautiful.
the
And
city.
I left a
Yeah.
link in the description part of this interview where viewers can get a copy of Kofi's books directly on Amazon, on his website, and also on other platforms. So thank you so much, Kofi, for accepting the invitation to be featured on P English Literature. It's awesome having this conversation with you.
It was my honor, Peter. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's my pleasure as well. It was pretty much fun than expected.